Hi everyone. Thought today I'd have a look at one of my more difficult tasks that I do around the place. And it's a cold-ish wet day, which we need in Perth. We really need the rain. So thought we'd have a look at some sprayers. I've spent a lot of money on different sprayers because none of them seem to do what I really want them to do. Everything from the cheap $2 hand trigger sprays through to some, I wouldn't say expensive, but a little bit pricey type devices. So we're going to start off with the cheapest first, and we'll work our way through to the better ones, and the ones that I think did work. Okay, let's start with the cheapest of the lot. This one is just a normal cheap trigger spray you can buy from pretty much anywhere, $1, $2, something like that. They tend to work for a while, but after I find 2, 3, 5 uses, whatever you're using in there seems to destroy the rubber that's up in here or the plastic that's up in here, and they stop working. They'll either stop pulling the material out from the mixer bottle, or they just won't spray anything at all, and you sit there triggering away for ages and nothing comes out. They do work, and I'll show you on my sample one. Here's my Pepino that I bought from the Kalamunda Garden Festival, and it probably needs a bit of a winter copper spray, so and as we can see, it's working fine. But I've used this half a dozen times, still going, which is good for these. But again, it's not going to last terribly long. I'll give you a better spray later. It's not going to last terribly long. It's a lot of plastic to keep chucking in the bin all the time, so I'm not really that keen on them. The other issue I have is, of course, this spraying action. For us oldies, it's starting to get a bit hard to do that for too long. Trigger sprays hurt. Means it's not as much fun as it could be. And all your gardening should be enjoyable. It should be relaxing, not hurting. So, not keen on those, but they are necessary in certain places. Next one I'll show, actually isn't the next cheapest, is this fella. This was from Amazon. It's a 1 litre battery-powered sprayer. It's got a nice flexible nozzle, so you can put it upwards and spray under the leaves, downwards, straightforward. And it's got a reasonable pattern on it. It's charged from a USB-C under there. It lasts long enough for some general spraying, but the biggest issue with it is it's unreliable. I'll pop some water in here. It's working. But that's a nice fine spray that hopefully we can see coming out of there. Hopefully not getting too much on my phone. It has a nice long attachment, which is important so that it reaches the bottom, and a very good filter. So if we have a look, like a little stone, this doesn't block up very much, and being heavy, it always sinks to the bottom. So when it works, this is really, really good. It's great for spraying the fungicide, the copper, or the eco fungal thing that I've got as well. And I should use it more often because I do have that issue with fungal diseases on the plants around here, particularly with this wet weather we're currently getting. But as I said, occasionally plays up and you press the trigger, nothing happens. You charge it up again, nothing happens. You charge it up again and it works. So good, but not great. I'll put a link and a price to it up here, so you can go and buy them on Amazon if you want to take the chance, or look around for another one that gets a better review than this one did. Now, we also have this, which is actually from Aldi. It's a garden line sprayer. This works really, really well most of the time. The filter on this one is quite good. It has a rigid pipe, a solidish filter, doesn't block up too often, just screws on like so. Dial here is for how strong you want the mix coming out that end. I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes, but I usually leave it up high and do it lightly, and add water later if we need to. This one is particularly good for spraying the raised garden beds because it has a flat wide pattern that comes out here. I've not had any issue with it. Seems to work really well, except when it locks up, which is occasionally. So let's pop the hose on it and have a look at the pattern. Again, try not to wet the camera too much. So there we go. You can see that flat yet wide pattern, so really good for spraying around in the raised beds. Not so good in the pots because it just gives you a line, or it's too wide as you move down the row of pots. But as I said, good for the raised garden beds or larger areas. Next one I've got is very similar, and this one's from Holman's. I buy a lot of Holman's gear. They're Australian company. Products are relatively inexpensive. I won't say cheap, but it's touch and go on whether they're any good. I've got Holman hose reels front and back, and they have not lasted well. They've cut through the hoses on the reels stopped retracting. But that's a story for another time. This Holman one has a round pattern, which we can see from here. I'll take the bottle off, and it has one of these, pretty standard. You find them in your trigger pack spray bottles. They do block up. So you've got to keep an eye on the mix, make sure it's still dropping, which is why I tend to use the dial set highly so I can actually see the level dropping. And works on a trigger here. Gives a nice round pattern, which is great for the pots. So if we fire it over there, nice heavy spray. You can control it reasonably well. So generally, very worthwhile. Again, not very pricey. I think about $12 or so. Price will go up here. And there's lots of different brands you can get, but in Australia, Holman's is a common one, and I think definitely worth having. Right. Okay, this is the backpack sprayer. Straps onto your back, hence the name. It's really good for larger jobs like the plum trees and nectarines I've got right up the back. I need to get quite a heavy spray on those because to control the fruit fly, I use a chili and garlic oil spray. And it's not greatly effective. It does seem to deter the fruit fly a bit, but you have to spray often and heavily for it to have any effect whatsoever. So I use this. The straps, as I said, are not very good. Probably get better brands than this one or better styles than this one. And it works simply. Pump the handle a few times, pull the trigger, and out comes the spray. It's got 2 spray nozzles, so it gives a really good coverage. You can get underneath things and spray up. Like so. This is all water, by the way. Everything in here is water. I'm not spraying today because it's too wet, as I said. So I'm just spraying some water out. It's not going to hurt anything. As I said, really good for larger jobs, but I wouldn't want to be carrying this on my back all day. It's really quite heavy and awkward. And now we come to my favourite. This is one that I think is actually pretty good, and it's a Holman. There's a few brands you can get, and I'll put some links to them in the video. But it's a pumpless sprayer. It's got some good points and some bad points. First thing we're going to do is actually check the gauge. We'll bring it up here. It's been sitting in the shed a while. All right, the gauge, it has to have some air pressure in it. Now, I think the way these work is they've got a rubber balloon inside. You put air around the outside, then you fill them up with what you want to spray, and that air pressure pushes the liquid out. So as we can see, it's a bit low. All right, we're going to pump it up a little bit. Here's my battery-powered bicycle pump. A few more. Power it up. And off we go. All right, now if you have a look, gauge now, you get a closer look. There we go. Is in the area that it says is necessary for it to work properly. Right. I'll put some air in here to bring him back up to pressure. It's a pumpless job and has a selection of nozzles. So if you come up and have a look, we can see different nozzle patterns. Where are we going? Little marker there, spin around. So I've got that pattern. Got a single stream. We've got what looks like a fine spray. Certainly is. And then we've got a coarser spray, which is not working terribly well, so I think it needs a bit of a clean out, which I shall do at some point. Oh no, not too bad. But I haven't used that one. I generally use this. No, not this. This one. Get the nice fine spray out. And because you don't have to pump it, it's really, really handy. So I like this one. This is really good. So to put the mix in, basically we plug the hose in here. We pour our liquid concentrate into there, which we're not going to do today because it's too wet to spray anything, so we'll just pop it up if you want to get a spray to see how it goes. This is a bit of an issue because if you've got a powder you want to mix up, you've got to mix it up in a separate container first, pour it in here, and it sort of just sits there until you get the plunger. Let's clean off a little bit. Push the plunger in, squeeze it all in there, and then if you do it the right way around, as I said, can be an awkward little fellow. There we go. And that's meant to put the concentrate into the tank, which we can now fill up with the hose to the level we like, and that's measured on that same little air gauge, and then we can go spraying. Right, let's fill the tank up. So we're going to hook the hose up. It will fill the mixture tank. So we click it on there. And we've got to remember to turn the tap on to allow it to fill. There we go. Twist that around. And keep a very close eye on the gauge here because it fills up fairly quickly. And we just want to get it to the 3 litre mark. It's a 5 litre tank, so it does actually hold quite a bit. Turn the valve off, take the hose off, and we're ready to go, I think. So we'll have a look at the gauge itself, and we can notice that it's gone up from its previous spot in the light blue to the 3 litre area. And now we'll have a look at the different patterns we can get from it. A little bit fiddly as I showed with the adding of material, which we can't get out until we've released the pressure. So I'm going to have to clean this out. But that's fine. So I like this one. So in summary, what would I buy if I had my time over again? Probably all of them. Because except for the pump ones, which, hang on a minute, I'll go and get it. So if I had my time again, which one would I buy? Well, probably all of them, except for these ones. As you can see, this has been sitting outside for ages. You pump the handle madly, you try and spray, nothing comes out. I have never found one of these that lasts or is of any use whatsoever. So I don't know if it's just me, but they're terrible. So each one of them's got their use. This, quick, easy, good for little tiny jobs, but as I said, horrible waste of plastics because they don't last. This one with that particular spray pattern, really great for raised beds, not so good for pots. I use that for my raised beds. And a very similar product, this one with a round nozzle, I use for spraying on my large pots where all my potted trees are down the fence line. This one, when it works, really, really good for spraying the fungicides the copper spray, those sort of things. I only ever use ecologically sound stuff. So just a pointer there. But this is really good for getting those fungicides out on the plants. Nice gentle coverage when it works, but as I said, a little unreliable. The backpack for the big jobs, and as I said, probably my favourite, most useful one, apart from the difficulty getting the mix, the liquid into the container to mix up, is probably the most useful and the one I like using the most because it's really easy. And it just keeps spraying until it's empty, which is great. Make sure you clean them out properly though. And again, that's probably one of my issues. I don't spend enough time and effort cleaning things out because I run out of time. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, we're going to have to spray as soon as we get some fine weather. So I'll be getting all of these out and using them for different sorts of purposes. Each one for its best purpose. Now I've got to clean up. There. Ah, well. Enjoy life, and I'll catch you in the garden. Spraying.
A curmudgeon once tied to the chalkboard's glare, blueprints and bridges, his burdens to bear. The suits in their towers, their wisdom askew. He slammed down his pencil and bid them adieu. Now he's digging the dirt, planting his dreams. The soil's his canvas, the sun's golden beams. No more the red tape, no more the charade. The garden's his fortress where plants never fade. A suburban plot where the hedges grow wild. He's tending the earth like a father to child. Rows of rebellion in carrots and kale. A man who won't bend where others might fail. The wind carries whispers of lectures once roared. Now lost in the hum of the bees he adores. A YouTube rebellion with compost in hand, teaching the masses to nurture their land. Now he's digging the dirt, planting his dreams. The soil's his canvas, the sun's golden beams. No more the red tape, no more the charade. The garden's his fortress where plants never fade. He traded the spanner for seeds and a hoe, letting the seasons decide where they'll go. The green of his thumb a curmudgeon reborn where his new life is